Okay, well, just started. Hope you can hear me well. It's good to be here again. It's actually even more natural than yesterday. I hope these ones go well. This session is great that you can hear me. Caroline, thanks for telling me. Well, this session it's actually pretty different to the one yesterday. In the session that I did yesterday, I had like a presentation ready, and this time, although I have things in my mind, I will play with the idea. The name of the session is Creative Nature, and I want to interact with that idea that I usually play with when I am creating. I just sit and I start doing things, and sometimes even the things that I most like that I do are sometimes when I don't even expect it. Like I may be at a friend's house and I may be using their computer because I don't have mine, and I just start doing something, and like pretty quickly I get something that I really like, and it's because I'm not even thinking about it, and I really love that way of creating, and I wanted to make this session kind of about that uh, topic because I really think that it's like really connected with the way that nature works, and and yeah, for me it's a really magical moment when that happens, so I thought that it would be really interesting for me to show y'all and to also be recording that. So yeah, as I just started the session, first I want to show some artworks that I didn't have the time to show yesterday. um, so I will start from there. I will show those artworks. These are maybe not from collectors, from belonging to any collection. It's just artworks that I did in 3D. Some are still images. Some are animations, but I want to show you because yeah, I actually have a lot of problems like managing my works because I make a lot of stuff all the time, and maybe some could belong to one collection and some could belong to other collection, and it's really hard for me to manage and to drop everything. um, so I have like many works in progress that I love, but it's hard for me to put the time to really finish them. Uh, and I have a lot of finished projects that I never uploaded, but I do want to show them here so you can see. So yeah, I'll start sharing my screen, and I'll show some artworks. I will share the audio. I'll wait for it to load. I think that you can see it now. Okay. I'm sorry for going to the files. I hope it's not that distracting. Um, I'm gonna start showing this one, which is called Almonia, and I made it with one of my best friends. Um, and yeah, this is Almonia. I really like this piece. It's like an ethereal, unexist, like a forest that doesn't exist, and the sounds are also so soothing. The colors also are really special. Like it's really interesting for me to work with other other people because it brings a new and different face and an artistic view for me. Um, like if I do things on my own, I may work in a way, but when I work with other people, it's like I amalgamate to maybe their vision at that, and that happens like um, vice versa. And I think that's a really interesting way of working, not only visually but also like making music and doing something together with someone or more than one than two people. It's really interesting and brings different outcomes than if I would be working alone. So yeah, this is a really special piece for me. um, this one is a still image. uh, this one's kind of scary, but I really like it. I feel like I got to, like, I love the details and the textures that this one has. It's like, I don't know, looks like it's inside of a volcano deep down. And I really like it. There's kind of a brother to this piece, which is this one. This one's much more belonging to the light. Uh, but it's really like cyborg to me, like this kind of plants and robots having like a kind of a conversation, you know, and there's also like some kind of liquid. I really like the way that this piece ended, and so I wanted to show you. I feel like this one and the one I just showed there could belong to the same collection. Um, this one I showed, these ones I really like, different from the others. I'm gonna put the sound. Yeah, these ones are like this electric. Um, they're like a really like an electric conversation between a lot of elements, and I love to make sometimes those kind of works. Like I just start like making some elements, and I make a lot of them, and then I try to place them in different places where they make sense and kind of connect them. So for me it's like a community that has like the same goal, and they're all working for the same goal. And for me it's like such an electric uh, symbiotic uh, conversation and situation. And I love to make them like endless loops with this concept. I will show another one that is similar to that one. It's sharing again. This one calls, so is that, oh, the volume, it's pretty. So yeah, again, it's like a lot of different elements and symbols that are all interacting together. And these are kind of old works, but I wanted to show. This is more of a mechanical mecha, which I am really influenced by. Um, One that doesn't have sound yet. I really like it, and I actually don't know where to mint it yet, and and if I want it to be part of our collection of or what. This one, like, for real, it was so fast, the process of making it, um, and I love it. So yeah, and this one also is really like mecha. Also for me it's like a whole conversation between like different elements all interacting together. um, so yeah, that's basically it. I wanted to show before I started creating um, a piece live. I wanted to show those artworks that I didn't have the time to show yesterday. I'm gonna get inside Blender, which is the program that I use for my 3D modeling and everything. This program for real, it changed my life when I realized the way that I could create basically anything visually. It's so limitless, and I know so little about it. There's so much more to learn, and also the way in which you can portray anything. Maybe like you are kind of lying with the scene that you're making. Like that's why I wanted to show this scene that I have, which is this one. I showed this piece more than one time, but I want to show you so you can understand how this works. This piece that I already showed, which is called Underwater Kinias, belonging to YH4, which doesn't have sound yet. Um, I'm about to show the scene in 3D. You already know which piece I am talking about. I want to show this scene in 3D because it's really interesting how, if you see it from the outside, it's just like a little cube, um, and these little things in this huge environment. So it's and then when you see the video, it's like, or you see it from this frame, it looks like we're in this huge, I don't know, desert, and with this water that looks so real. And I know it's really cool to me how with just a cube and some elements you can create this environment. um, that's why also I wanted to talk a little about this concept. I want to check a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, about this concept of I'm sorry. Um, Once I was hearing a conversation, maybe a podcast. Uh, I don't know why that changes. Okay, I was hearing a conversation, a podcast possibly, about the theory of this whole world being a simulation. And it's not that these people were like certain saying that this was a simulation, or it's not that I am saying that it is how it is that way, but it's a really interesting way of seeing the place in we're living in. And they talked about possible theories of why this could be this way, and they talked about this thing that happens when we are not watching particles, and the particle waves are spreaded over the place when you are not looking at them, when there's not an observer, looking at these particles. And when there is uh, someone looking at them, these particles um, localize in that same place and take place. And they actually compare this phenomenon. They compared it to when you're playing, for example, you're playing a game, and maybe like you're watching something, and suddenly you turn around, and everything slowly starts to load. Just when you turn around, and you can see how it's loading, and now it's there. But before you turn around, this thing didn't exist. And that's so interesting to me, like visually, how um, it's like a conversation between what the object that I'm seeing and myself, and my brain making these connections to tell me, and my eyes to tell me what I'm seeing. So it's really interesting to me, for me, like 3D programs that can do that in such an easy way. Like I just showed the scenery where it looks like it's a big desert, and I'm just connecting these two things, that it seems like a big desert, and it is not. And you can portray these crazy sceneries. For me, yeah, it's crazy. So now I'm gonna start sharing again. Okay, so this was the scenery that I was just talking about. I wanted to show this little. This is the sculpts of the fishes that we have here in this, that you can see that are swimming in this piece. This is without the curve modifier, so they're like straight in a line, but when you add them to the curve modifier, then they will adapt their shape to the curve, to the shape of the curve. And I really use this trick because it has such an organic way of moving, and to make like this kind of fishes, it goes so much with this flow that fishes have, that I feel like today I had a really interesting conversation with Caroline, uh, like an hour ago or something, about water and about the movements of water. And it made me think that fishes also move in this way, like they replicate this spiraling movement, and I love that movement so much. Like I can't help myself but make like add this like spiraling movement to my pieces almost always. um, uh, it being a piece related to water or not, it's like I need somewhere to have this like spiraling sense, which for me is like a really soothing, and yeah, and a really shape that gets to me. I feel like, yeah, like I also love straight lines, but curves for me, they express so much. So yeah, I'm gonna. I will not save this because it's already saved. And yeah, this is Blender. This is the program that I use for my 3D, and this is how you start. Like there's nothing here, just the standard default cube. Um, so I want to check before that you're, yeah, great. It's looking good. Please, if there's any problem with the reproduction of these, I want to know if you can see these. Okay, I just turned that I want to show how I sculpt, because for me, like, there are different, of course there's a lot of different steps during my Blender creation moments, but sculpting is one of the most flowing ones. It's a really organic way of sculpting. Many people use VR, many people use a tablet. I just use the mouse because I love the mouse. I never use VR to sculpt, but for me the mouse is like a really really organic, it's like I feel like it's my hand actually, and the tools that I have to sculpt are so so useful to me. So yeah, I have this sphere now. I have no ideas in my mind. I just wanna start sculpting, and also meanwhile showing you some of the tools that I usually use, which I feel these are really accessible for anyone, and I'm just talking about like having fun with them. Which is the reason why I started this, and is the reason why I'm gonna continue doing it, because it is so fun, and it is uh, yeah, it's really good. um, we have this inflate, it's here, you can see all the tools that you have, that these replicate like real tools and ways that you would shape a thing um, in real life sculpting. There's a cat trying to enter the room. I will let him. They are really needy because it's winter. But yeah, this inflate It's good because you can kind of get inside. Here's the strength, and you can add any like glove that you want. This one's for me. I have the like a mirror in the X axis. You can have no in the Y axis. I'm sorry. You can have no mirrors at all, and just sculpt directly. I kind of want to make some kind of creature. And this one is the snake hook, which I use a lot, and it's so organic. Like you can create this things where you grab something and you just can do anything that you want with it. It's so cool. Um, it is actually full of tools that I would never imagine in real life using. So it's really accessible to me to make this here. For me, sculpting is one of the most fun moments of 3D modeling. There's other ways of modeling which I will show later, but this one for me it's really interesting. Um, as you can see, I'm just not thinking about it. I will also in a while, when I have something sculpted that I like, uh, I will use artificial intelligence, possibly Midjourney that I was talking about yesterday. uh, Making like this tail. I'm sorry if the cat it's bothering. I hope not. I wanted to open the door because he feels alone. No one is here at home, only me. hmm and yeah, this is how I usually work. I just not think about it. Maybe this shape that you're watching right now ends up being something really different. There's a lot of modifiers in Blender, and I really play with randomness, like being helped by me, like sculpting this thing, but possibly after it I want to show how with little uh, differences in modifiers you can get a lot of different models. Before continuing sculpting, I want to check if there's any problem. You love the cat. Okay, I'm gonna show the cat. This is Shido, and he is really cute. And he's really needy, as I told. He's uh, it's winter, and so they're for real more needy than any time. Plus, there is less people at this home than usual. So yeah, I'm adding some texture to this object. Um, and as you can see, this is actually, for example, it happens to me usually. I don't like this shape, if I gotta be honest with you, but that's not a problem because there's a constant evolution possible with shapes and with everything, and something that you don't like can turn into something that you really like. And I'm not just talking about 3D. uh, I'm talking about like in general. Also, it's about perspective, and I can play with perspective a lot here in 3D. Like, I can use this thing to make it a giant. I will stop with the sculpt. I was just talking with Caroline and about like spiraling, um, the spirals that water creates. Really interesting to me. So I want to kind of make something related to that. I feel like the shape will work pretty good for that. I just added a curve, which is a circle. I will add a curve modifier to this object that I just sculpted. I will first do this little thing, and I will add the curve modifier. Now we got it here. There it goes. And now it's interesting because I can use the array modifier. I can change the axis. So, okay, not that one. Yeah. And I can do this thing right here. There it goes. And there it goes. And now, what I was thinking, I might duplicate this, and I will apply these modifiers to one of them, just to have this one in case I don't like the result of this one. I'm just playing. This is usually how I create. I just play and try a lot of things which are really accessible and pretty quickly. As I said, you can get a lot of different results. I'm gonna change the origin. There it goes. There I'm like twisting the there it goes. That's what I wanted. I'm gonna duplicate this one, and now I have like a spiraling kind of creature, and that's what I was looking for. Now that I have this one, I might apply, and I might sculpt again. But now I have this like spiraling thing that has depth to it, because I sculpted one and I arrayed it, and it's like four of them spiraling two times, so there's a lot of to it. And I will start adding like more texture to it now that I got this spiraling thing, with the same tool that I was just using before I did this. So yeah, as you can see, this is just one way of modeling in Blender. Is everything so easy to do and easy to get crazy results. Of course, I love animating because that gives so much life. Imagine that I am modeling this thing, and then I know that I can even add life to it, and I can make it move as I want, and I can make it swim in water. So yeah, that's why I'm still fascinated with the possibilities of 3D creation. But actually, these apply to any creative anything regarding creative like practices. It's so limitless if you just let yourself flow with it. Like, it's crazy for me how if you got just a pencil and a blank page, the amount of things that you can do with it, it's crazy. uh, but yeah, for me it was always really helpful to have a computer to work with. I love drawing, and I love like analog creating practices, and because they have their own magical thing, and creating with computer has its own magical thing too. I think like I'm interacting with some technologies that help me work in some ways that I wouldn't be able to, and create these things so quickly. Yeah, it's crazy for me. And now I can start like giving the shape that I want in this way, uh, because I may not like it that much. I want to make this like longer. Yeah, there it goes. I want to make this that way. And now I'm about to go to Midjourney and um, live while you're watching. I want to make, which is pretty quick. I want to add a prompt to it. Um, Please bear with me. This is just happening now. I wanted to show this way in which I create, which it's really all about error and trying. But I feel like at the same time, um, it's pretty interesting. So I really wanted to make a session, uh, showing this process. Um, I actually like this shape now more. I will add like this texture that I'm imagining. Maybe with this different tool, I just use two tools. That's actually what I do, but that's not good. I should use like all of the tools. But I feel like with the years I realized when I was smaller I wanted like a new guitar and a new ta 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 and a new ta 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 because I needed this to create this and this. And in some moments that because of different reasons I had my limitations, maybe regarding the gear or something. I feel like working with limitations is such an interesting way of working. Sometimes when you have a lot of things you don't even know how to work, and when you have your limitations, um, sometimes it can get you to more interesting places. So yeah, that's actually crazy that I sculpt a lot and I actually use two tools. And, and yeah, I like usually I like to embrace that sense of limitation for creating, because if not also I feel like it's not so good relying a lot on a lot of tools which may like suffocate me. um, well, yeah, I like that texture that I made. I want to see the chat. Yeah, Caroline, this software is for real insane. It is so unlimited. It's so crazy. I hope that this has been interesting. Um, I know that I am the one creating. I try to talk because I have a lot to talk about while I'm creating. So I hope that it's not so dense to you and it's interesting. I want to show the shape that it's where it's getting. Um, and yeah, I think this is fine. I will not get into too much detail because I know this can get kind of. I will erase this. This can get kind of boring if I start going with the details and stuff. So there it is. Now, um, stop sharing for a second. Now that I have that, I want to check the hour. Great. If you have any question regarding the 3D sculpt or any 3D thing, please ask me. I'm glad to answer anything. I'm actually really fond of showing my friends the way and anyone the way in which I work with 3D because I think it's such a great tool and easy to use. Uh, so anyone that wants to create visually, I feel like they really should try this. Um, okay, I will share the screen again and I will go to Midjourney, which is this artificial intelligence software and platform which is inside of Discord, and it's really interesting for me. I wanna, while we create this one for this scenery that I'm making, I wanna show some of the ones that I've been creating. Maybe use one of that or one of the ones that I already created, but we'll try to make like an underwater scenery for this one that we just made. I'm reading right now. Question from Brooklyn Lugano. Oh, okay. Uh, I actually mentioned that I use a mouse and I did try it with a pen tool, like with the tablet and the pen. My girlfriend uses that, and so I have the access to it. But I've been using the mouse since I was a kid, and for real, for me, this is like this works better than anything else. It's just for each one. My girlfriend just uses the tablet, and I just use the mouse, and I can't use the tablet. This for me is for real, like such a an effective extension of my mouse, of my of my hand, not of my mouse. Um, so yeah, but for each one is different. Like there's a lot of people that uses there's a lot of people that uses VR to sculpt. I never used it, but I think that one might be pretty organic, so I should try it. But still, there's friends that I talked with that the same to them. The mouse is like working as an extension better than anything. Um, I want to check that I'm sharing the screen. Yeah, perfect. Well, this is Discord and this is Midjourney. Been using this AI like for a month or something. Been using artificial intelligence since the start of the year. Possibly I tried with many different. I even used it for to create like some audio, and it's so crazy. I'm so interested about where this can take this dragon that I made yesterday. Uh, Also, it's I would like to know what she'll think about it. It's crazy that I say that I made it. Um, but I feel it's really interesting. Like at the start, for example, of the photograph of the camera, which took photographs. The painters were really pissed at this, and many people also like. Uh, and I think these are just technologies, and we should accept and embrace all of them. And so yeah, it's really interesting and it's really fun, and that should be the main reason why we're using them, not um, to advocate this as I did it or something. It's just a research that belongs to everyone, because I feel this is so connected with nature and the way it creates. Sometimes it doesn't make things that I like. Sometimes it does. This one, for example, I wrote mycelium shapes, a neuronal pattern made of metallic and cables, glow of light, mecha parts, detailed photograph, and real engine, and it created this pattern that I love. I really, really love. Really interesting. In that image that I just showed, it also created these ones, but I just upscaled the one that I most like. This creature, for example, is so interesting. And well, while I show you the ones, some that I did, I want to um, start creating one. You just hit the bar, write imagine, and you just start writing. I gotta think for a second. I will write underwater, light glares. I love when it does like these light glares. Um, in the mist to have some kind of texture. Mm, small butterflies. I want to make this scene that doesn't have so much sense, like kind of butterflies flying inside of the sea. Um, rocks on the bottom, sunlight, sun rays through the water. You don't gotta be so like, it will only pay attention to the keywords, so it's not that you gotta create like a well redacted sentence or anything. I want to check the hour because time passes quickly. Um, underwater like layers in the mist, small butterfly rocks on the bottom, sunrise through the water. And I want to add this like hyper, um, no, I will say like detailed photograph. These are really cool to add. I feel like when you add this, it gets to a more interesting picture. If you do not add, it may do like a more plain thing. Hyper maximalist. I realized that if you write hyper maximalist, it does display big sceneries. Um, and I'm looking for that. So yeah, now you can choose the aspect ratio. You use this two dashes, you say, and AR, and you choose. I will go for 2 3. So we have um, a vertical. Yeah, I want to go like that because we're using like this object that I made in Blender, which is like tall and spiraling thing. So yeah, I want this ratio while it's creating. I want to show some more of them. um, this one is pretty beautiful, like mountains and butterflies, a lot of things from the sea. um, this one is interesting. I love this one. Like it's people worshiping. I wrote something like worship to the dragon mega ghost. Yeah, so interesting. um, there it is endless. I got so addicted to this. This doesn't end for real. This one I loved, like a mecha angel, and this one too. So beautiful, and it's also cool to use as textures. And okay, made some butterflies. I will use this. Let's just do it. Not think too much about it. Maybe I didn't want it to be like um, I didn't want it to be with this big butterfly, but anyhow, this is fine. I will add this picture, which is a plane, and I will set it, and I will start creating this environment, and you will realize how quickly we can create an interesting environment. So yeah, I gotta go to cycles and GPU. We will go for to make it. I want to check before I continue. Okay, you just read the prompt. Yeah, it's so interesting how in the process of starting to get familiar with start realizing these ways in which you can well, this lighting, it's pretty. There's a lot of noise. This rendering engine, Blender has different rendering engines. This one it's pretty, but it's one that looks the best. So I'm using this one, but it has a lot of noise. Uh, of course, it disappears in the render when you're creating. There's a lot of noise, so possibly the image that you're watching right now is not the image that will end up being on the render. And also, when I'm creating, it's usually I don't know where this will end. um, I will, if I don't get the time to today in this session to end it, I will show how it's ended in the next session. But I feel like we can get to something in these 15 minutes that we have left, because it's pretty quick now that we have a main element. um, so yeah, I gotta check for this picture, which I am not finding. Oh, that's right. Okay, I will do this because you gotta upscale. Anyhow, I will use another one in the meanwhile. This one will be interesting. I can save it and save it here in images, Midjourney, water. Got it in images, and I will search for another one underwater, which I have a lot, and they were pretty interesting. So I just gotta go while it's making the upscale of the one that I just made, and you can see the images which are really interesting. This one is upscaling. I am sorry, please bear with me. um, I know that this session is different to the one I did yesterday, but I feel like it's really interesting to show this way, and it's important for me to show this way of creating. And usually when you're creating, there's a lot of moments in which there's some obstacles, but suddenly things open, and pretty quickly you start creating things that are interesting. While that loads, I'm gonna start making like this different small things. We'll use this modifier that I used before, not anymore twist, but this one for example, and we create some things like from the ground. This looks so from the underwater already. um, and I will place them here and here. I feel like this thing will end up being pretty nice. Um, as I said before, and I was showing the other scenery, it's crazy for me because now you're just watching. Maybe if you're not used to the program, you're just watching a plane, little objects, and it looks like we're so far away from getting an interesting image, but actually we are not that far away. I want to save this one. um, there it goes. I want to go to images and make journey, um, journey butterfly. There it goes. And I want to go to Blender, and I will add, now it will work hopefully. And oh well, here I had a really interesting one. I think I just changed of plans. I will use this one for now. This one's really interesting. I made it in Midjourney too, so same process. Um, but I feel like this one goes better with what I'm looking for. And now we'll add a cube, and we'll use it to be the water. Here's where you add the textures to it, and you can make it transmissive, and you can take out the roughness and give it a little roughness maybe. So now we got it kind of underwater, less roughness, maybe no roughness at all, or just a little. And you can add this color to it, and this is the nodes. These nodes are made to create textures, which is really interesting. I know so little about it, but with few stuff like a bump modifier and a noise texture, you can connect these, which are like cables, the factor to the height. These are small things that you learn by using them. On here we have like this crazy water texture, and I just take out the strength of it. There it goes. And now I can add this transmissive, no, sorry, this emission shader. I can check how it works. It may not work that well. I think it's not working that well. In fact, this one is looking pretty interesting. Anyhow, like this image already. Looks like we're underwater. With these things right here that I want to make. I'm gonna take out that emissive thing to it, and I want to make these ones like green pretty quickly, as if they were like kelps. Yeah, there it goes, like this green that I'm looking for. And you can add lights, you can add these points. We will add more strength to it, 500, and you can place them wherever you want, and you start getting this crazy um, environment. I want to make this shape bigger, um, and in some way I wanted to, I feel like it's not being so um, like it's not having all the attention that it needs to have, and that's where the materials get into place. And it's really interesting how this works. Like you can add a color ramp and you can start combining different different textures and different colors in the same texture, and this works so perfectly, and there's so much space for like trying different stuff. um, we will see this one in small, it's only here so we can check how it's what it's really doing. um, there it goes. um, we can make it kind of purplish with um, this white, and now I want to add something to it, which is this ball. I can make it emissive. I want to check the hour because I want to give it some strength, and I want to add like hair to this object, which is a really useful tool. And in the render I render it as object, and so I use this sphere as an instance, and now this object has this like kind of hair. It's called in Blender, but it is this object that multiplies. uh, you can give it a lot of scale. I wanted to change the scale randomness so it's more organic, and you can add more scale to it. You can decrease the amount or increase it, and now I feel like okay, um, there's many ways and things that I could try to make it more according to what I imagine. um, but yeah, I wanted to show this one in which you can now you can add the camera here, and you can start looking for interesting perspectives where the because this can also get like pretty abstract, like you can search for a lot of shapes. Like for real, this feels like we're on the water, and I could change like the colors to it, and I can now it looks like, and now I can start what I just said, like searching for several and different perspectives that light light to us and makes us think that there's a giant squid there. So yeah, it's really interesting to me working in this way, and it's usually how my workflow goes. I just don't think about it, and I just flow with it, and it's so much fun. And it's little time that I have actually in 1 hour to show all the tricks and and that you can make here inside of Blender, but it's so interesting. uh, yeah, I can get there, and there we have like uh, this image, and so yeah. um, well, I will stop sharing. I'm glad, Caroline, that you think that was cool. It's already 4 minutes to go. Um, yeah, it's cool. It's really cool for me to show the way in which this can go. For real, there's so many possibilities, and I will possibly next week work for a piece for YH4, And I think that if I have some ideas prepared already for it, or if I worked before and I record the session and then I add some things live, um, I can show some tricks and some simulation techniques that I use to make the water move and to give life to these creatures that I just modeled. Because when you add like an animation to it, it gives so much more life. And also when you add music, it gives even much more life. So that's what I'm gonna be doing next week, but it will be all around my YH4 collection. I want to read the question that Blockchain Lugano just asked. Um, yes, I do. Yes, I do use images that I create. Um, Sometimes even back and forth. Like I create something 3D, I go to the I go to the AI, and this AI makes something with this image, and then I use this image to go back to 3D and make something, and back and forth between them. And it's like a conversation between me, the AI, and the 3D modeling. It's really, really interesting, and I can show some of those results. Um, I don't know if I have them right now saved in my files, but I will show it next time. But yeah, like AI uh, um, has all these options. I never use with Midjourney this thing where you can add your image, but I use other one which is it's called Dream, and it's really interesting. And I had a lot of results that I end up using in some artworks that I made, which maybe it is first with a drawing, with a pencil drawing, and you can go with this picture to this AI, and you can and it gets to a place so interesting. Just with a pencil drawing, you send it to the AI and it gives color to it, and these all these textures, and so interesting. Maybe you just like a shape comes to your mind, and you just do this basic shape, maybe like just some curves, and you throw this image into the AI, and you want these curved shapes to be from the underwater. So you add this text to the AI plus the image that you want it to work with, and it gets to results that are for real astonishing. Um, yeah, I do have 3D artists that I admire and that inspires me a lot. And actually, uh, I was filling my arena platform with artists that I love. But in the next session, I could show you better, because for real, for me, it's like a really important part of of my influences are like from this moment right now, like contemporary artists, which are I feel like are shaping the this aesthetic and this way of combining art with technology and with bio and like nature related art, and most of them are like from now, from 3D. Um, yes, Caroline, please take a look at my arena. Maybe now, as soon as we end it, I will start adding more of the things that I love, because I want you all to see it. It's really interesting. I feel like art right now, it's in a really, really interesting moment. Not only because of all the artists that we have, but art itself, it's being more and more accessible to people, and I think like um, it's making these connections between all the world, and it's always has been, but is helping connect in a way that it's so interesting. Most of my friends actually like are artists, and I feel like this sensitivity is being spreaded more and more, and I feel like that's why we're connected right now. um, uh, so yeah, I love that, and I really love to share the artists that I like, so I will do it. It's already past 7. I hope that you enjoyed this session in which I was kind of creating live and showing you my process. Of course, having so much little time, it won't be like the ones that you see already finished, but um, please know that this is the way that I work, in which shifts in today. Um, so yeah, it's neat. I feel like it's not only me doing it, but it's an interaction with the software that I'm using. Or for instance, a person playing the guitar is an interaction with the person and the guitar. So there's always has to be have to be an interaction, like a symbiotic um, um, situation, between two elements that combine together to create this magical thing. And that's how art and creative things work. And I really, really love that. So, well, see you next week in the next session. Um, Thank you very much for watching me, and